All right, 7 o'clock Eastern time. We'll get this started right now. Welcome to the first GamePower Neuroverse AMA. My name is Parker Carlson, and for those of you that don't know, I am the community manager for GamePower and Neuroverse. Yeah, we have a lot of things planned for tonight. We're going to go over a recap of the past year for us, and then we're also going to go over kind of an outlook for 2022 and some of the things that we have planned here at GamePower and Neuroverse. So to start things off, I'm going to pass it over to Mike and Michael, the co-founders, and let them give a little bit of an introduction about themselves. And yeah, let's get this thing on the road.
All right. Thank you so much, Parker. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the first AMA for GamePower in Neuroverse. This will be the first of many, not including the devlogs that I'll be uploading to YouTube very soon. We'll be giving you the YouTube link for that. But yes, I'm Michael Huntington, but just call me Mike. I'm co-founder and CTO of GamePower. I have years and years of dev behind under my belt for major companies, and I love development. I love programming. I've done quite a bit with game development on the side. I've released a game for the Apple App Store, so really a gamer at heart. But kind of merging gaming and programming is probably my best decision, and that's kind of where GamePower comes in for me. So yeah, I'm always here, always developing. You can ask me any questions related to development. I'll do my best to answer if I'm not heads down in code. So I'll pass it off to my co-founder, Michael.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Rochester. I bring 14 years of technical experience to GamePower Network, and I'm currently operating as COO. Let me just say, first of all, first and foremost, I love gaming. I've been gaming since the 1980s with the Atari 2600, and as a kid, I remember playing Frogger, Pac-Man, and Space Invaders. Those were groundbreaking at the time. And now, the gaming industry has progressed significantly, and we at GamePower are working on pushing the boundaries even more in the blockchain gaming space. And I'm looking forward to talking with you guys tonight about our GamePower network and the Neroverse Metaverse.
Awesome. So now we have a little bit of an introduction out of the way. First thing on the agenda is for us to go over sort of a recap of the past year and all the things that have been accomplished. So I'll pass it on over to you guys to kind of go over last year.
Yeah, definitely. Oh man, it's been a crazy 2021. Mine, with the bull run and then kind of the bear market that entered in, and then coming back up and now back down. But it's been a crazy year, wild ride. But we're proud of the progress we've made. And for some of you, you've been here since the very start. But we know there's a lot of you that came in around October, September time. So we're kind of give you a recap of what happened this year. So in March, GamePower was formed. We decided, Michael and I, that we wanted to create a game. That was our focus, to just create a game. And we decided the blockchain would be a good place to put it. We looked at Engine, which many of you probably have heard of, the NFT platform, and we love it. But we realized there were a lot of downsides to it, and it made it a lot harder for developers to just jump in. So we said, you know what, instead of just building out a game, let's actually build a platform for us and for other game developers that want to jump into the blockchain and connect their games to blockchains. So that's kind of how GamePower was formed. And as we were looking at different blockchains that we could join in on, whether it was Ethereum at the time or some others, we noticed that Polkadot and Kusama were really making some moves towards developers. It felt like a place that developers would want to be. And we agreed, and we decided, you know what, we're going to build on Substrate. And thankfully, throughout meeting people, I actually went to a Substrate course where I was trained by actual, Akala CEO and On Finality, their team. So I was able to get some training from them about Substrate, and we met with the Builders program. And throughout of that, all of that, we received a Web 3 grant. So we decided, you know what? Let's stick with this. Let's build out a mobile application for GamePower, and it was going to be called Lootbox. So time passed by. We made it to the summer, and Apple switched gears on us. They said, you know what? We're not going to allow NFT apps that have a marketplace within them unless we take 30% of your profits. Um, and we said, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's not give in to Apple or Google. Let's make our own platform. And that's where Neuroverse came in the middle of the summer. So we kind of had to do a 180 on our plan and rethink things. So Neuroverse became our focus, and we decided to make a marketplace, and that was going to be it. But over time, over the months, it started to grow, and a lot of people joined us right at the start of that growth, which is when we released the OG Dragon. So that's when we decided, you know what, Neuroverse could be more than a marketplace. It could be a metaverse. It could be connected games. It could be connected experiences. So over time, the idea of Neuroverse has grown, which has led us to these later months up until now, where we actually have a lot to announce. So this past year has been great, and we're excited to talk about what's coming next.
Cool. So now that we have a 2021 recap on your stream that you're sharing here, we have a few graphics. The community hasn't seen this yet, so could you touch on what you're showing us here, Mike?
Oh yeah, so this is actually our pitch deck. It's a little out of order right now because I'm using it specifically for the AMA, but we're going to make this available to everyone because, of course, transparency is important. So you may be wondering, okay, why are you needing a pitch deck right now? And you'll start to find out a little later. We're about to start making some big moves, so a pitch deck is definitely needed. But we're going to let you all see the final version of this after the AMA.
A little bit of foreshadowing. I like that. So next, we'll move on to the roadmap and our outlook for 2022 and some of the things that we have planned.
Definitely. So, as you look at this graphic that I'm showing right now in the stream, you see there's a lot of different parts, and we've kind of introduced a lot of these one by one. Um, but one thing that we haven't talked about is how does this all fit together? Because yeah, it's great to have a ton of different NFTs, it's great to have collectibles, but if they don't have a purpose outside of just being NFTs, then what's the point? So we're going to be using this year to really consolidate this and make it clear what our vision is for Neuroverse. But remember, Neuroverse is just one part of what we're doing. There's still GamePower. Neuroverse runs on GamePower, and GamePower is a substrate-based node. So this summer, we are going to be releasing a test net. We're going to be partnering. Hopefully, we haven't finalized everything, but we're going to be partnering with On Finality, who will help us get set up with a test environment so that we can start getting node validators set up and have our code actually out there for people to run their own nodes. And obviously, if there's nodes, that means there needs to be a way to incentivize people. So we're going to continue to build out our substrate side of things, so that later in this year, we can have our mainnet ready. And then once that happens, we can start looking into a parachain slot on Kusama, and then finally moving to a parachain slot on Polkadot. So we're still a ways away from that, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. So that's the GamePower side of the roadmap. Summer, testnet, end of the year, having our mainnet ready. And in between, some minor events that we'll kind of keep you all abreast of. But then there's the Neuroverse side. So I can't say too much because actually the start of what we're going to talk about is actually at the end, with a few surprises. But just know that all of these items that you guys have been collecting and hearing about, the Nerobots, the Neropets, the Nero Heroes, they're all going to be coming together in a single experience. So we're going to be pushing towards that. There's a token that's coming that we'll talk about later, because we know a lot of you have been asking about investing and so forth and so on. And obviously, we couldn't talk about any of that, but we're getting to a point where we can actually do that. But yeah, that's our roadmap for GamePower, and we're going to be talking this whole AMA about the roadmap for Neuroverse. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. A lot of things to look forward to in 2022. So, a lot of you guys saw in the Discord, we opened up a channel for AMA questions for Mike and Michael to address during this time. So, we'll hop into there right away with our first question. And this one's from Killer Codester. What has been the most difficult part of the project so far, and what have you learned from it?
Yeah. So the most difficult part, I think, has been the changes that we've had to make. Obviously, being a small team, starting out as just two people, it's easy for us to just refocus and change. But as we've been growing, not only by ourselves, but with the community, it's hard to make changes and it's hard to tell people, hey, you know that thing we planned, we're not going to do it. Or, hey, you know, we said we're going to launch on this blockchain, but we're going to focus on this one instead. It's really hard to tell the community that. But thankfully, we have such a great community. Like I'm looking at some of the Discord communities that are out right now with the bear market kind of hitting, and there's a lot of arguments. There's a lot of just anger, and our community. Even though sometimes I go head to head with some people, I believe that we all do it because we actually care about the future of Neuroverse and GamePower, and I love the feedback, and that kind of has helped us during this hard time of having to change things. But for me, I feel like that's the hardest part, just changing and changing expectations sometimes. But thankfully, our community has been there behind us.
Yeah, very important. Strong community is one of the most important things. So, next question will be on what will be from Dark Spark. What is the percentage completion of the Web3 grant, and how long will it take to complete?
All right, so this was a great question because we started out strong with the Web3 grant and the Web3 Foundation. And like I mentioned, during the summer of last year, we had to refocus. So Lootbox was our project with Web3 Foundation. And as you guys know, you haven't heard of Lootbox at all since the summer. And again, that's because of Apple and their changes. So Lootbox was going to be, and this is what the grant was for, Lootbox was going to be a way for any substrate node to create a marketplace that can be used on mobile so that mobile users can buy, trade, sell NFTs. Since we had to refocus, we actually didn't charge the Web3 Foundation for our first grant. So we actually did it for free. Our first milestone, I should say. We actually did it for free. So we completed our first milestone and we had one more milestone left. But we told them, we let them know that, hey, we're not going to continue with the grant because we're refocusing. Instead of building for Apple and Google this project, we're going to build Neuroverse and we're going to focus on that first. And in the future, we can always do another grant with them. I'm just glad that we didn't take any money from them because it would have felt bad, to change course halfway through the project. So it made it easier for us to end the grant since we didn't receive anything. So yeah, the percentage was 50%, and that's where it's going to end because we are refocusing.
Nice. Next question will be from Mapper. When will you start to build a bigger team? You have many things in the pipeline, and you will need a lot of help to get that done.
Oh, I'll answer that. I think that's a great question. And I just want to let everyone know that we have already begun to build a team. We've added 2 advisors, Justin Silva for marketing and some connections, and Professor XR, who has a very strong background in AR, VR technologies, and also is somewhat known in the crypto space as it is. They both bring a great deal of experience and expertise in their respective fields. And in addition to that, we've also added Parker, who's with us tonight, who's asking us the questions and moderating and doing the stream for us. He's our community manager. And, outside of that, we've been working with a number of contractors for very specific development items, such as 3D modeling, animations. We've hired voice actors, which you might just get a little sneak peek tonight, and a game studio that we're working with. So, outside of all of those things together, we do have plans to continue growing the team. with more developers being a priority in the very, very near future.
Awesome. So next question we have from Mateo. Are you planning on creating your own token?
So, yeah, I'll answer that, and maybe Michael can chime in also, because we can't say too much just yet. But there will be a token, and it will be the GamePower token. So, Neuroverse won't have its own token. It will be powered by GamePower in all aspects. So, there will be a GamePower token, and uh, it's going to serve the purpose of incentivizing node validators. Uh, it's going to have utility around NFTs. So we can't talk about too much related to the token, but Michael, anything you want to add in?
Yeah, I will. I will add a little bit to that. We are going to launch a token with a play to earn aspect pretty soon. We're still kind of in the early phases. Well, not really entirely early. We're about halfway through the phases for being ready for that and to give you the information that you need regarding the token. There's just a few details that we're still ironing out as we want to make this play to earn aspect of the token also super fun. But just stay tuned. We'll be releasing more information over the next few weeks.
Cool. Next question from Diula. Are there plans to connect other blockchains to the project? For example, Avax, Polygon.
Yes, definitely. So this is something we've spoken about quite a few times in the Discord. But as an update of what's going on, many of you know, we started out with Solana, and the reason we started with Solana is due to talks with, for example, we've met with Star Atlas, we've met with Network, we've met with quite a few companies, and Star Atlas, Solana seems to be a great place for gamers and gaming projects to really launch on. And so that's why we decided to, hey, let's start with Solana since we're going to be a multi-chain project. Um, Solana has its upsides, but it also has its downsides. We love working with it, but obviously our heart is still with Substrate. So one great thing about Substrate is that we can build an EVM, which means that we can connect to Avalanche, we can connect to Polygon and our Ethereum, as long as GamePower has that EVM heart to it. So we're definitely, as we move towards our testnet this summer, we're going to build out the EVM. We're actually going to be using a, a fork of Moonbeam, or Moonbeam and Moon River. We're using a fork of their EVM. So everything that the features that Moonbeam has, GamePower will have natively. So smart contracts, so forth and so on. So we want that to be able to tie into Avalanche and Polygon and Ethereum. So it's coming, but it's going to take time, and we're not going to just leave Solana, but we'll be adding on to what we already have.
All right, next one we have from ProgChamp. What are some legal requirements that a game must meet to be publishable on GamePower?
Yeah. So this is really, really important, and it's a really gray area, and it's a great question, because the thing is, we're creating a decentralized game publishing platform, which means that no one should be able to tell you what could be on the platform or how it's on the platform. But at the same time, there's businesses behind these games and behind the platform. So we have to act under the laws of whatever countries we decide that we want to, do business in. So by default, we're not going to restrict anyone from launching on our platform. However, those games have to meet the criteria of those countries. For example, in the United States, you can't be under 13 and play certain games, or you have to have parental consent to play certain games. We have to follow those rules at the very least. So those are the types of things that we have to take into consideration, and it's a country by country basis that we'll have to keep in mind and explore. But by default, when it comes to just the games running on the platform, and let's say there's a game that people feel is vulgar, obviously it's decentralized, so we can't take it off, but we want the users to be able to vote it off. So using the GamePower token or some type of decentralized method, a DAO, allow players and gamers to say, hey, this game is offensive to people, and or it's just crap. The developers aren't developing this game, and they've left it alone. We want to vote it off the platform. We want to give you that option. But as far as laws go, yeah, it all depends on the country.
All right, next one we have from Dark Spark, Win Telegram.
Okay, so Telegram, we actually just created a Telegram announcements channel called NeroVerse News. You can feel free to access that. I'll post a link after the AMA tonight. So if you like to join the Telegram channel, you can.
And Michael, that
Yeah,
is
and
read only, correct?
It is read only as an announcements channel. Yes.
yeah, and hopefully in the future we can add a actual channel where users can talk. But right now we kind of want to keep everyone in one place on Discord.
All right, next one from Mateo. Would you be open to partnering up with another metaverse project?
Great question. This is actually part of our vision. We want to connect multiple metaverses together in one seamless place, and that is going to be what Neuroverse, part of the Neuroverse and the Neuro spaces that you're going to learn a little bit more about tonight. We are already very much in talks with another Metaverse project, a pretty big one actually, and I can't give you the name yet because it's not far enough along. But we also plan to continue to build and collaborate, regardless of what happens with that project, along with other projects in the near future as well.
Exciting stuff. Next one we have Dark Spark, or another question from Dark Spark. What are the options for people starting today? Do they get a standard apartment and a starter Nirobot?
Yeah, so right now, we have the Founders Edition Neurobots and we have the OG Dragon. But as we've mentioned a few times, we want to have a free to play game. So by default, we are going to allow people to have a standard apartment, which won't have any features. For example, you won't be able to decorate the apartment or change photos or anything like that within the apartment, but you'll have that space that you can go into. And you'll also have a Nirobot. It won't be an NFT, but it will be your companion in the game. If you've played Destiny or if you played Ratchet and Clank, you can think of it as that, the robot that follows you around. The difference between that Nirobot and someone that's purchased a Nirobot on the marketplace, the person that purchased on the marketplace can enhance their Nirobot. They can give it a personality. They can trade it, and change the shell. So we want everyone to be able to come into this game free to play if they want and enjoy it without having to buy anything. But for those that have invested something into assets, they're going to get a major boost.
All right, next question we have from ProgChamp. What functionality will Neuroverse enable for uncurated NFTs minted via GamePower in formats compatible with Neuroverse?
Yeah, so this is something actually to go along with our partners and partnering with metaverses. This is something that we're actually working on, creating a standard for metadata within NFTs. Right now, every NFT has metadata, but the sad part is it's great only for videos, JPEGs, the standard stuff. But there needs to be a deeper type of metadata for game assets. So we're going to be working with some partners on creating a standard. That way, let's say another metaverse creates an NFT on the GamePower network, it should be able to work across all the games within the Neuroverse and all the games within GamePower or even outside of GamePower. So we kind of want to make sure that we have a standard set, whether we're creating that standard or we're working in a group that works together. For example, the Blockchain Game Alliance, we want to bring this standard to them also. So yeah, that's the way we kind of want to make sure that these NFTs all work together.
Next from Diula, will Neuroverse collection be integrated into large marketplaces such as OpenSea, Rambler, and Solan art in the future?
That is actually part of our long-term plans. In the short term, however, we were just really focused on maintaining and adding to and ensuring that the Neuroverse marketplace remains a great place.
Next,
Yeah.
go ahead.
One thing, and I kind of want to add to that. Even though we will have a presence on OpenSea and Solan Art in the future and other marketplaces, um, the only reason why we will have a presence there is because we do want a safe space for people to trade if they do have an asset that's from us. But keeping in mind that Neuroverse is definitely going to be real assets, and it's going to be valid. So it's kind of use the other marketplaces at your own risk, but it's decentralized. So if you have an asset and you want to trade it anywhere, you can.
Nice. So next question we have from Dark Spark: what other uses and advantages are planned for early adopters?
Yeah. So we consider OG Dragon holders and FE Nirobot holders as early adopters. Um, and they all have their own different perks. The OG Dragon is going to forever have a discount perk. Um, and the FE Nirobot is going to allow for a lot of early access moving forward. And we're not talking about our own games, but as we partner with other metaverses, that's going to be one of the stipulations that we always work into our partnerships, is that our Neuroverse FE Founders Edition holders, um, they get early access to games. So that's one thing we want to continue to push forward. We're still working on the uh, VIP program for the OG Dragon. And again, what that's going to do is allow for you to hold the OG Dragon and to gain points within the Neuroverse. We're going to talk about that more in the future because we still want to work out some things. We've gotten some feedback from uh, some users in Discord, some community members, ProgChamp being one of them. Ha, I called you out. So we're getting some good feedback from the community, and we're going to look at all of those things before we make any, hard decisions on it.
All right, so next one, this is from Burhanund Dins. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Is there any chance GamePower will collab with any venture capitals to back up this project?
So we've talked to oh man, we've had so many meetings with VCs um, over the past year. And we honestly don't like it. We don't like, and when I say don't like it, I mean mostly the individual VCs, the small group VCs that you see. They want a lot from you. They want to take a lot and they want to control a lot. And it just wasn't for us. Just like we pulled out of Apple when they wanted that 30%, and they wanted to control how NFTs, worked on their platform, and we did our own thing. We're the same way with VCs. We want to do our own thing. We want to focus on gaming, not just investments. So, and that's not what they wanted. So we're not really focused on VCs right now. However, we are looking at community funding projects. So if for example, your investment communities, people that want to play games, they add more value being investors because they bring people to the project and not just money. And that's what we want more than anything. People. We want people that play the game. So yeah, VCs aren't really important to us right now. It's not what we're seeking. But obviously, if we were to meet a gaming VC that really truly cared about gaming, we would talk to them and we would entertain them. But yeah, it's not a top priority.
Next question is from Darkspark. Do we get to test the Dragon Arena game before we buy the dragons in the hatching event?
So yes, we are going to allow you to actually see the dragons up close. And when I say up close, I mean in VR. But if you don't have a VR headset, you can still walk around the dragon. We're not going to let you play the game before the dragons launch, but we do want you to be able to see what it looks like. So, for example, a small slice of the Dragon Arena, where you get to see the arena, you get to see how the dragon attacks. That way, when you're ready to hatch your egg, you can say, okay, I want this type of dragon because it looks cool actually in person. Or a dragon that you really liked, you may see it up close and say, yeah, I don't like that one anymore. I want another one. So we want to give everyone a chance to actually see the asset and not just a picture of it.
Nice. So next question is from Diula. How soon will it be possible to get acquainted with the economics of the project?
Yeah. So we already mentioned the token. There's two sides of the economics. There's the tokenomics, and then there's the in-game economics. We kind of already touched on the tokenomics a bit, as far as that there will be a token. And actually, in this pitch deck that we're going to be making live for everyone, we're going to have a section about tokenomics in there, so you'll be able to see that. But as for in-game economics, that's something that is going to just take time. We're going to actually have to hire, someone that's really, really, really good at, building economies within games. Because if you mess that up, you kind of mess up everything. So we're going to slowly give out more information on economics and on the tokenomic side and in-game economics soon.
Cool. Next question is from Darkspark. Will the team buy assets back from the Neuroverse market using the treasury?
We will never do that. If we ever buy anything from the market, the team, is because we wanted it. For example, there was this dragon egg that someone had it was a plant dragon egg that was number 420. I had to have it. So I bought it. But I would never, we would never use the treasury to buy back from the marketplace. If you see that happening, it's usually the sign that the project is desperate, that they don't actually have any real value behind it because no one wants it. What we would rather do is use the treasury to build a better game so that people will want to buy the assets. So yeah, we won't be doing any buybacks or anything like that. Again, if we buy something, if you see a developer buy something or a team member buy something, it's because we want it personally.
Cool. So last question we have right here is from Claus. Will there be a beta version for Neuroverse, and will there be limited entries for it?
Okay, so for the beta version of Neuroverse games are going to be released in stages in an effort to focus on providing quality games and great experiences. Ultimately, let me slow down a little bit. I feel like I'm going too fast. Ultimately, we have a lot of games that are going to come out over the course of the year and into next year too, and that includes the Nirobot command game, the Nirobot RTS, the Neropet Arena, and which will add more pets than just dragons into over time. We actually are looking at, after the Nero Heroes or revamped, we're considering a dungeon crawler also for those. All of those games are going to fit into the bigger flagship RPG game that we're going to release in the future. So these things are going to build up until the final product is out there and delivered. So essentially, yes, there is going to be a beta, and as far as early access to these releases will be limited.
All right, and that pretty much concludes the questions that we're going to take from the community for now. We're going to take some time to hop into a little bit more detail of our upcoming events for this year. So the $1 million question, and it's going to be the first one. Could you guys give us a little bit more information on the token?
Yeah, so we kind of talked about a bit about it already. And again, we can't go into too much detail because things are changing. But one thing that we really are looking to do, and remember, this is just ideas right now that we have for the token that we're working the kinks out of, but we want players to buy assets without caring about crypto. We don't want them to have to think about a wallet, anything like that. So if someone's on an iPhone and they see a Nirobot that they want to buy, all they know is that they're using their Apple Pay to make a payment to buy a dragon or a Nirobot. But in the background, the token is still working. We're still storing the token into a vault for the value of that asset. So that way, there's still utility around the token. There's still the token being taken out of circulation. And so we're building out some economics around how to get people to use the token without even using the token, if that makes sense. But we're gonna explain more of that in the future as we touch on how the token will work. But again, we can't say too much right now. Michael, do you want to add anything to that?
I think that's a good place to stop.
All right, then we'll move into another big talking point, and that is the Avatar Revamp. Could you guys give us a little bit of clarity on where we're going with the avatars?
Yeah, so the Nero Heroes, as they're called, Many people may have noticed that the wardrobe section of Neuroverse is missing, and that's on purpose. We love the way the heroes look. They were great. However, they were limiting. So we decided if we really want to create a great avatar system that can be used for multiple games, whether it's VR, desktop, web, mobile, we have to build these avatars from the ground up. So we scrapped these avatars that you see in front of you right now. And we actually have a game development studio we hired that are going to actually create these avatars from the ground up. They're going to be very much your stylized Fortnite style characters. So we want them to look very modern. Um, and the thing is, it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take about 4 months for them to fully complete everything that we need. So Nero Heroes are kind of pushed back as we do the revamp. And it's fine because we don't need them right now. But just know that they are coming back and they're going to come back better. They're going to be VR compatible also. So yeah, look forward to the revamp.
I feel like I could say this about almost everything we're talking about, but I'm personally very excited for this next one, and that is the first launch of our first game. So maybe take a little bit of time and talking about the Nirobok command game that's right around the corner.
Yes, yes, yes. So the Nearby command game, as most of you know, is important because not only is it its own experience and its own mini game, but it's actually going to help you improve your dragon egg, which in turn improves your dragon. So this is on the horizon. It's so close. But the thing is, there's something that's coming right before it, which is crazy because it's at the end of the stream. We're going to talk about it. But the Nirobot command game depends on this one piece that is going to fit right in front of it. So the Nirobot command game is about, I'd say, a month and a half away. Uh, but again, if you don't have a Founders Edition Nirobot, you know, obviously it won't improve your egg. However, you can still use your Nirobot to gather resources, and those resources are going to be used for building furniture for Nero spaces to improve your Nirobot. And we're going to have some other things that we're going to use these resources for. So as you send your Nirobot on missions, it's going to return with some loot or some valuables that you can use. And there may be times where it's going to come back with a whole NFT. So we're really excited about where the Neurobot command game is going. We actually expanded on it, so that's why it's kind of pushed back. But we needed to have this other piece in front of it that we're going to talk about in a few minutes. So that's why the Neurobot command game is a few weeks away, but it's coming. And as you know, like I said, it all relates to the dragon eggs. So if you don't have an egg, again, but you have a Neurobot, you'll continue to send it on missions because those resources again will improve your Nirobot even if you don't have an egg. So yeah, the Nirobot command game is coming, and we're actually going to talk about it a lot more after you learn about this new thing coming.
All right, another exciting thing that is on the horizon, and we've seen a few sneak peeks of it on Twitter, in the Discord, stuff like that. But could you guys elaborate a little bit more on the Nero spaces and what's going on there?
Yeah, so again, everything that we do is a piece of the puzzle, and Nero spaces is probably one of the biggest pieces. And of course, I could just talk about it, but I'd rather show you. But before I show you, I just kind of want to give a recap for those that may not have known or heard about what spaces are. Um, if you've ever heard, and I'm going to show my age here, MySpace, where you could create your own page, you can have your own identity. You know, it was a 2D. It's what the web started out as when people were able to customize with their space. Neural spaces is the same thing, but in a virtual world. You get to design your home, your space. We're going to start off with a cyberpunk feel, but in the future there may be a castle or a normal modern home. So we want users to be able to fill these spaces with their own NFTs. We want them to be able to invite people to their space. So, for example, each space is going to have a URL that you can share on Twitter or in Discord or anywhere, and that'll send someone directly to your space. So it's almost like a web page, like MySpace, but just in the virtual world, and it's all your assets that you own. So you get to show off all the things you love that you've garnered from games or from the blockchain in your space. So we're really excited about it. And as some people know, we've already told our OG Dragon holders that they're going to get a key free. So if you own an OG Dragon, you already going to have a large size apartment. And again, everyone's going to get an apartment. So if you're a free to play player, you're going to get a space, but you won't be able to decorate it. It'll be kind of like a guest room, an Airbnb. You can't change anything, but you can stay there. So our OG Dragon holders are going to get a large size apartment, and it's kind of doesn't make sense just saying large. So I actually want to show you guys. I have a video that I recorded today in VR, in Engine, that kind of shows you what this all looks like. So give me a moment, and I'm going to pull that up for you.
Very exciting getting a first peek into the, or I guess not a first peek, but an up-to-date peek into the Nero spaces.
All right, so here's a look at the large size apartment that all OG Dragon holders are going to have access to. This isn't furnished. This is just some furniture that I just put in there. But you'll be able to move it around. Think The Sims. If you've ever played The Sims where you can move around the furniture, you'll be able to do all of that. So the sofa can go where you want. You can change the floor tiles, the wallpaper. But this will be the space that you get. You can put, like, for example, there's a desk here. This desk and this computer is actually usable, and this is how you're going to launch into different other games within the Neuroverse. So you'll be able to see a list of other worlds that you can visit right from this computer. And again, you'll be able to place pictures on the wall. You'll be able to kind of decorate lamps and lighting and all of those things. And as a large size, you get this extra space in the back, where you can, for example, put a bathroom here if you want, or a closet. You know, it's your space to do whatever you like. But yeah, we're giving you a lot more room, and this isn't the largest size apartment, but this is a large apartment that you can modify. You'll get a nice view of the skyline that we'll show you outside in a few minutes. But there'll be a day and night cycle, and oh, so there's a dragon there. The mech dragon kind of just showed up. I think he's being serviced right now, so he's turned off. But yeah, so that's the size of the dragon in the real world. So yeah, this is the space that we're going to give all our OG Dragon holders. But let's go outside, and you're going to see that there's actually going to be a world that we're going to be building outside of here. This patio space. Again, this is all yours. You can put benches out here. You can just look out, enjoy the view. But we actually going to allow you to go out on the street level in the future, or just hang out on the balcony with your friends. So this is kind of what we're currently envisioning for spaces. And this middle area that I was just walking out of right now is just kind of like a empty seating area, but you can make that a swimming pool or a fire pit. So we have a lot planned for Nero spaces, and yeah, it's coming along really well so far.
Awesome. A lot of things to look forward to in the Nero spaces. I like the furniture. I'm very excited to customize my own. So now we'll move into probably the most exciting part of this AMA. And I don't want to say anything else. I'm going to pass it over to Mike or Michael, and we'll really get into it now.
Yeah, so definitely, this is the big part that we've been working on for so long. Again, as you guys know, we've released the OG Dragon, the Nirobot, Nero Heroes. There's the command game coming. You've just learned about spaces, but it may seem on the surface kind of not so cohesive, but there's actually a reason for that. And the Neuroverse prologue, which we're announcing today, is going to explain how all of these pieces work together. So the Neuroverse, as you know, is a metaverse. But one thing we wanted to do different from other metaverses, which are kind of more sandboxy and just make it your own, we wanted to have a narrative-driven metaverse. So there's actually a story that's happening underneath all of this. And the story we're going for is kind of reminiscent to if you've played Sword Art Online or watched the anime, or if you've watched the movie The Matrix. It's a world within a world. So the Neuroverse is actually software in a world within this world that you're going to be experiencing. There's other characters. There's missions that you'll go on. There's factions that you'll be able to join. And we want to start this off with a prologue. So the reason why I said the Nirobok command game is going to come after a certain piece, this is the piece we're talking about. The prologue is going to introduce you to the world of Neuroverse, and the Nirobot command game is going to plug into that, and you're going to finally understand how all of this works together. What are Nirobots? How do Nirobots work in this world? This prologue is going to explain all of that for you. So before we end this AMA, and we're going to talk about this some more, but before we end this AMA, I want to show you all a trailer for the Neuroverse prologue. This is something that we've really been working hard on, and we can't wait for you to see it. So if you like, after the trailer plays, you can stick around in the GamePower chat, ask us some more questions. We're going to give away some NFTs, but for now, enjoy the trailer.
Breaking news. The Nero network is down, creating a cause for concern across the globe. As this has become the primary tool to communicate, many users are outraged. We have reached out to Metasoft for comment and have not yet received a response. Stay tuned to NGN for further updates.
Here at Metasoft, where we have received rumors of an unauthorized data leak. We've reached out to their public relations teams for comment, and we're still awaiting an update. There's a bit of an eerie mood on site as there is no activity. There are usually hundreds of employees in this courtyard where I'm standing, but today, nothing.
This is a code red alert. I repeat, a code red alert. There has been a data breach. Operation Noah has been initiated. All personnel are to report to their workstations immediately. This is not a test. Please await for further instruction.